Hello friends, welcome back to today's lecture. So in the previous lecture we studied a very important concept that is nothing but your flash memory. So we studied your flash memory. It is one of the major things. Inside flash memory we also studied your flash cell, flash cards and flash drives. Okay. So moving ahead in today's lecture we will try to touch upon a major thing which is regarding your memory hierarchy. Okay, so what is this memory hierarchy then? Any memory in any system has a hierarchy, right? So how the memory is accessed from the processor is what your hierarchy decides. That is, which memory is accessed first, which memory is accessed second, and which memory is accessed third. Okay, so if you can observe carefully the below diagram, whatever the diagram you can see here in this slide, you can see here you have a processor. So you can easily observe this processor is the only thing which is doing all the processing. Apart from that, whatever things you see here, the registers, the cache, the secondary cache, main memory and the disk, these all are nothing but your what, friends? These are your different types of memories. Okay, now so what is an ideal memory then? This also we have discussed in the last class. What is an ideal memory? What should be the characteristics of your ideal memory? An ideal memory, what it should be? It should be fast, it should be speed. Next, it should have less size. The size must be less, that is, it should be portable. I mean, it should be portable, not less size means don't take it in terms of memory accommodation. In terms of memory accommodation, it should be high. I mean to say, if you are given an option to choose two USBs, whether you will choose a USB of 2 GB or 1 terabyte or 32 GB or 64 GB, you will be choosing someone which is having a high capacity. That means all your memories should have a higher capacity. Next, apart from this, another major thing is what now? It should be less expensive. The amount of payment which you are doing, it should be less. So this is another major thing which you need to take care. If I have such a memory wherein all these characteristics are fulfilled, then we say it is an ideal memory. That means such a memory doesn't exist. An ideal memory is very difficult for existing. That means there are trade-offs. If I have a faster memory, then it will be costly. If I have a larger memory, then it becomes costly. If I have still larger memory, then it is not portable. You cannot easily move from one place to another place. Okay, now let us get back to this slide. What we are doing in this slide now, please concentrate. So if I want to do any fast operations, then the chip I will be using is nothing but your SRAM. So what chip I will be using? If I want a faster access, I will be using a SRAM chip. You already know what is your SRAM. Okay, but what are the disadvantages with SRAM then? Please tell me, what are the disadvantages? They are expensive, first thing. Next thing is what? They are not packed into a single chip, right? So this SRAM is clear now. It has some disadvantages. Okay, fine. Next, in order to overcome this, what did we come across? We came across a DRAM. What are DRAMs then? They are less expensive as compared to SRAM, but they are slower. And they have an overhead. That is, the processing takes some time. That time which is taken for processing, we call it as overheading. Another major thing is they require periodic refreshing. Even though there is a continuous power supply, periodic refreshing is very much important. So, and another major thing with both your SRAM and DRAM, you know already what is the major disadvantage with both your SRAM and DRAM. It is they are volatile memories. So therefore volatile memories are not of that useful to us. Okay, we are more interested in today's word non-volatile, because if you switch off the system, you should regain the data. Okay, so this is regarding your SRAM and DRAM. But the size of the main memory is still less compared to the type of programs which is being run on the computer. Okay, therefore we need to store large volume of data permanently. So therefore, if I want to store some data permanently, what do you require? You require something which is non-volatile. We require something which is non-volatile and cost effective, right? And also which stores large amount of data. So such thing is nothing but your secondary storage, which we call as magnetic disks. So we call them as magnetic disks. Okay friends, so these are your magnetic disks. Okay, so I hope you are understanding the hierarchy. We started from SRAM, came to DRAM, next we came to your secondary storage, there we came across your magnetic disks. So that means almost all these types of memories are used inside your computer. SRAM has specific application, DRAM has specific application, magnetic disk has specific applications. Okay, so in order to demonstrate that, you can just have a look at this diagram. Here you can see you have a processor. Then from the processor, the first level we have is resistors. All the resistors which could be your general purpose resistors, or it could be your accumulators. All these things come under the category of resistors. Next comes is your primary cache, the cache memory, which we call them as level 1 memory. Okay, so the primary cache memory is again your SRAMs are used in your cache so that the processor can work at a faster rate, so that it can get the data at the faster rate. Okay, then next comes is your secondary cache. So after the primary cache, next comes is your secondary cache. That means, remember friends, primary cache is speed. It is speed than any of these other memories. This is the speed, then this is the speedest memory you can see as compared with all of these things, secondary cache, main memory, and so on. Okay, so you can clearly see here, it is increasing speed and here it is increasing size. It has highest speed here, the lowest speed here at the disk. It has a lowest size here and highest size here at the disk. Okay, now going to the next level. The next level is implemented using your SIMM or DIMM format. SIMM stands for SIMM or DIMM. SIMM stands for single inline memory module and DIMM stands for dual inline memory module. So this, using this modules, we will be generating your RAM. We will be generating your RAM. Okay friends, and how is this now? It is slower as compared to your cache memory. Okay, so access time is somewhere around 10 times as that of the cache memory. Fine. So I hope the secondary cache is clear. Finally, coming to your main memory. This is the secondary storage, which is large and inexpensive, but it is very slow. Why it is slow? Because it is a semiconductor memory. It is made up of semiconductor materials, you can say. Okay. Now, next very important thing is how the execution happens. So say for example, a program is executing. So the speed of the execution can be improved by bringing the instructions and data as close as possible to the processor. I mean to say for example, a program is executing here at the processor, then most of our data and your instructions should be as close as possible to the processor. That means it should be somewhere here in the registers or in the primary cache. Okay, so when this happens, the speed of execution would be very high. Like say for example, I am running a loop wherein I am adding some 10 numbers and these 10 members are in the main memory. These 10 members are here in the main memory. Okay, then what our processor need to do then? If I am running a loop, it will start from here. It will come to the main memory, fetch the one number and go back to processing one time. Again come here 2 times. Like this it will be doing how many times now? N times. Like this it will be doing N times. Okay. If I want to avoid this, what I can do? If I want to avoid this, directly all your 10 numbers will be stored inside this cache memory and it would be just coming to the cache memory, fetching the number and going back. So it is within it. You can observe here, it is within it here only. No need to come from here to here. Why? Because you have stored a copy of this main memory. What is required? The 10 numbers are stored inside your cache. Okay, by doing this you can save a lot of time and the execution speed also can be enhanced. Okay, so this is there, friends. Next thing. So this is all regarding your memory hierarchy. So next thing is, one second, yeah. So next you have is your cache memories. So the cache memories again is a very important topic. Maybe the cache memory will take you a lot of time. So this is one portion. So till here you study for tomorrow's class. Maybe the rest of the topic I will cover in the next class so that a continuity is followed. Okay. So thank you for watching. We'll again meet in the next class, and just go through all the previous classes because the next class would be somewhat connected to the previous classes. You should understand this all the previous videos so that you can understand the rest of the things like what is cache memory, what is mapping, all these things are there. Going ahead after mapping, we will be studying something called as a virtual memory, which is a very interesting concept. There inside virtual memory we will be studying one more thing called as paging, which is very much used in today's world. So we'll go through that paging. Finally we will touch upon your secondary storage. So you already know what is the secondary storage, your hard disks. So this has been asked n number of times, how a hard disk capacity is calculated. Then we will solve some problems also in your hard disk capacity. So it goes on like this. For now you just go through all the previous videos till today so that you will have a good understanding of the upcoming classes. Thank you for watching. If you have any doubts, you can just ping me.